Don't you ever get tired of listening to yourself?
Not when I'm talking about you, Cher.
Ow!
Romy fans, we are about to eat this week. Welcome back, it's your girl Double T in the morning, and we are officially heading into the final stretch of X-Men 97 Season 2. As of this recording, we only have 2 episodes left, which means the emotional damage is probably just getting started. Now, don't worry, I will be reviewing Season 2 as a whole once everything wraps up, but today I wanted to focus on my favorite 2 X-Men, and talk about what we've seen so far, and where I think their story is headed. But first, let's do a quick recap on them, shall we? Season 1 gave us the infamous Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit love triangle, where Rogue found herself caught between a former flame, in Magneto, and a present love with Remy. In the end, she chooses Magneto, leaving Arcadian heartbroken. Only to dump Magneto like 2 minutes later, because of course she did. But before Rogue and Gambit could truly reconcile, tragedy struck. In order to save everyone on Genosha and save Rogue, Gambit made the ultimate sacrifice.
The name's Gambit, mon ami. Remember it.
For the remainder of the season, Rogue is left drowning in grief, regret, and everything else she never got the chance to say. Now, I've already made an entire video discussing my thoughts on Rogue's actions during Season 1, so if you want the full breakdown, go check out that video after this. But all of that build-up brings us to Season 2, and if I had to describe Rogue's story for this season in one word, it would be grief. She has spent the entire season trying to come to terms with the fact that Gambit is gone, and he's never coming back. Or so we thought, because with a little help from Apocalypse, Le Diablo Blanc has returned. But not as the charming thief we all know and love, oh no. Remy is now the Horseman of Death, and after finally getting our first glimpse of him in episode 6, the countdown has officially begun. Ever since the possibility of Gambit being revived was teased at the end of Season 1, we've all been waiting for the inevitable reunion between him and Rogue. But now that we're finally here, there are so many questions. Can the X-Men save him? Can Remy break free on his own? Is Rogue actually gonna have to fight Gambit in his form? Probably. And if they do save him, how are they ever gonna return him to normal? I've seen a ton of theories online about what people are expecting from these final episodes, so I figured I'd share what I'm personally hoping to see from them. Firstly, I want more quiet moments with Rogue. One of my biggest criticisms of her in Season 1 was that we never really got a chance to sit with the consequences of her decisions. And honestly, I still feel that way in Season 2. Rogue hasn't had a lot of screen time, but one moment that really stood out was that conversation she had with Apocalypse by the fire, when he points out that she doesn't really seem all that excited to be going home. And it's because she knows that the person she wants to come home to isn't there. Rogue has moved past anger, and now it feels like she's entering the depression stage of grief. Losing Gambit left a hole in her life, and I really want the show to slow down long enough for us to truly feel the weight of loneliness she is dealing with, if only for a minute. Speaking of Gambit though, we need to talk about Deathbit's design, because I need to see the full reveal. Comic fans already know that the original design was certainly a choice. Gambit already dresses in battle-ready armor on a daily basis anyway, but the Horseman outfit somehow is even more distracting. They added straps, chains, and buckles.
Just simplify, there's just too much going on here.
And the spike collar? Yeah, we don't need that. I was never a fan of Gambit's death design, but I did like a lot of the subtle changes they added. The long flowing white hair, for example, is a great contrast to his darker color palette. I really liked turning his jacket jet black so you really couldn't see him emerge from the shadows. And turning his playing cards into tarot cards? This is peak character design. I'm just hoping they lean more into a supernatural Undertaker in the 97 series and less of whatever it is they're doing here. Next, I really want to know who the other Horsemen are. Before this season started, my predictions for Horsemen were Gambit, Magneto, Polaris, and Charles. At this point, I think it's pretty unlikely that Charles is going to be picked. And Polaris seems to be looking pretty clean too. Now, I know what happened with Magneto, but listen, for all we know, Apocalypse teleported him somewhere. Until I see a grave, I'm keeping him on the board. I also think Exodus is a real possibility as well, I was so excited when he showed up in the trailers, and when he finally appeared, he didn't disappoint. Look at how cool he looks! And then like 5 minutes later, he died. This show just really loves killing off cool characters. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Apocalypse brought him back as one of his horsemen. Exodus could definitely take that last spot. Let me know what your predictions are in the comments below. Lastly, I want to know just how much control Apocalypse has over this version of Gambit. Because in the comics, becoming Death was ultimately Gambit's choice, and even after Apocalypse transformed him, Remy was still in there, still of conscious thought, however rare it was. And Rogue played a role in helping him find his way back because, as she put it, he can't have completely crushed out all that love. Besides, Gambit's mind has always been notoriously difficult to control. Even Professor X has admitted that reading his mind isn't exactly easy. So there is some hope that Gambit can break free on his own, but we'll see what route they end up taking. But there you have it. That's everything I'm hoping to see in this week's episode of X-Men. Let me know down in the comments below. What are your predictions for this week's episode? And what do you want to see happen with Gambit and Rogue in the end? But as always, I'm your host, who sometimes knows more than most. And remember,
life, like the cards, is wild.